Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft video. Today, we're doing a 12-team half PPR draft from pick 11 for our subscriber or commenter, Pack Hazard. And if that's how you pronounce your name, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I'm a bit of an idiot here. So it's a 12-team half PPR draft from slot 11. The roster settings are one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, a flex, kicker defense, and six bench spots. Let's get right into the draft. But before I start the draft, actually, let me remind you to please click that subscribe button down below, because if you subscribe, you're going to win your championship. You're going to be getting videos, all these mock drafts, all through August. It's August 1st. It's draft season. You're going to want to watch all these mock drafts. You're going to want to watch all these ADP videos. You're going to want to go back on my channel and watch videos from the past couple of days, because you're going to get a whole lot of information to win your championship and dominate your fantasy football draft. So, talking about fantasy football drafts, actually, if you guys would be interested in a subscriber league, leave it down in the comments right now if you're interested, because I want to get like 12 guys to do it. I already have a few people who wanted to do it, so that would just mean a lot if you wanted to do it. So, it would be free. So, we're going to start off here. We're at the 11th pick, so we're going to begin the draft. Sorry for rambling on for about a minute. So, first pick in the draft was Alvin Kamara, followed by Mr. Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, D Hop, DJ, Devontae Adams, James Conner, Lev Bell, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, as of as of yesterday, got $100 million contract. Ain't that some shit? The highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Does he deserve to be the highest paid? Maybe. Is he a great wide receiver and a key focal point in the Saints offense? Yes. A lot of people were worrying. I was seeing people worried. They were like, Michael Thomas. Oh, he's not going to get the money. He got the money. He ain't holding out no more. He's coming back to camp. And we like that. So, with the 11th pick in a two wide receiver league and in a half PPR league, you can definitely go with the Wombo combo at the 11th spot or the 12th spot of Julio Odell, Julio Juju, uh, Michael Thomas Juju, Michael Thomas Odell, Michael Thomas Tyreek Hill. A combo of two elite wide receivers back to back right in a row, and you just have an elite wide receiver core. Will I do that though? No. You want to know why? Because I believe that if you don't get two running backs in the first 3 rounds, it is going to be so hard to build that depth. Because after like the 4th round, it is an absolute crapshoot on a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys are pretty much not bell cow. They're not obviously not going to be bell cows. They're guys that are some players that go there are only reception kind of guys. Guys like let's see, let's scroll down here. Guys like Tevin Coleman, a guy like James White, a guy like Tariq Cohen. They're only good because they're catching the ball. So you just want to avoid having to really rely on one of those guys as your starter when you can just draft two great ones in the first 3 rounds and feel pretty fucking happy about it. So with the first pick, we're going to lock in Mr. Joe Mixon here, running back, Cincinnati Bengals. Now, a lot of people are worried the Bengals O-line's banged up. The whole fucking Bengals team is banged up. AJ Green is in the shitter. He got fucked up and got hurt again. Like I warned all of you guys of. If you've been watching, you know I warned you that AJ Green is an injury-prone fucking player and that you shouldn't draft him. But Andy Dalton's going to be more healthy. Tyler Boyd's going to eat this year. And Joe Mixon's going to be perfectly fine, even in an offense that's not too great. So we're going to go Joe Mixon, just like last year. After when Joe Mixon, the Julio Tyreek combo went, like I said, that's something that a lot of people will do at the 12. Go with the double wide receiver combo. I don't necessarily hate it. Will I do it? Probably not. Will I make a video about doing it? Maybe, maybe, maybe. But now it's our pick, motherfuckers. And we've got quite the selection here. Do we want to go? We're not going Todd Gurley, injury reasons, because of his arthritis of the knee. We're not going with Dalvin Cook for injury reasons. He's 2 years off the ACL. Will he have his breakout season this year? Maybe. Will he get hurt again? Probably. So for that reason, I'm out. Melvin Gordon, not suspended. He's holding out. Who the fuck knows when he's coming back? I certainly fucking don't. I'm not part of the LA Chargers decision makers, so a lot of confusion right there. A guy like Nick Chubb, pretty safe. I think he's going to get a lot of touches, get some targets. Now, Duke Johnson's going to hinder that target share, obviously, because Duke Johnson is a receiving back. And you probably know that if you've been playing fantasy for a while because you've probably had Duke Johnson on your team, the Duke. And then Damian Williams, obviously, he has a lot of upside on a great offense, but he hurt his hamstring, so he should be fine for week 1, but that does kind of worry some people. Does it worry me? Not necessarily. Does it make Chubb go over him? Yes, it does. But then there's also a lot of good wide receivers available here. We got Odell Beckham Jr., a guy who's going to try to make his mark. Say that the Giants, I don't need the Giants. He really doesn't. The Giants were terrible. He doesn't need the Giants. Juju's trying to show, and the Steelers are trying to show they don't need AB. And AB is trying to say, I don't need you, Big Ben, on Oakland. So there's three big guys trying to make their mark on their team this year. I like Juju the most of those guys, but we are going to go running back because I'm all about the running backs. And Nick Chubb is the best available at this slot here. So after we went Nick Chubb, Odell went. So this person also went for the double wide receiver combo. After Odell went Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith-Schuster, Damian Williams, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Travis Kelce, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Pat Mahomes, Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, Devontae Freeman, Marlon Mack, Derrick Henry, Kerryon Johnson, Adam Thielen, Josh Jacobs. So now you could figure out why I said what I said. If you took 2 wide receivers, your running backs right here, you're going to be going with the Wombo combo of Devontae Montgomery, or David Montgomery, and Chris Carson. And I just don't like that. So right here, now we just happily get our wide receiver 1 right here. I like Amari Cooper. Do I love him? No, because he's too inconsistent for me. He's going to have a game where he fucking torches some defense, and he's going to seem like a god. And then he's going to have another game where he doesn't play so well, and he gets locked down by Josh Norman. And they'll have another game where he scores 30 points. And he's so fucking inconsistent, it's impossible to figure out. Now, he's been more consistent on Dallas, obviously, but still not that consistent. As you can see here, 6, 38, 13, 49. 8, 6. You don't fucking want that. That's way too confusing as my wide receiver 1. I'd rather go with the guy who I see to be a bit safer here, and Stephon Diggs, a guy on a team who I think is going to take that step up. They're going to go from a team that was kind of bad last year and well, I wouldn't say bad, but just not a playoff team, to a team that's going to make the playoffs, I think. That division is so good. The Lions, the Lions aren't that good, but the Lions, the Vikings, the Bears, the Packers. That's a very good division, and I'd like the Vikings this year to make that step up. Will they make the playoffs? Who knows? Are they going to win 8 games? Probably. So I like Stephon Diggs this year for a big turnaround after last year. Not even a turnaround. He played pretty fucking great last year. He was very consistent, a lot more consistent than Mr. Amari Cooper. So we're going to go with Stephon Diggs here over A.J. Green, who's injury prone. After we went Stephon Diggs, A.J. Green, and Amari Cooper, this guy went with the coveted 4 wide receiver strategy. That I've never seen something more dumb than that, because this is only a 2 wide receiver league and 1 flex. So you literally cannot start Amari Cooper on your lineup and you're still drafting him here. That just makes 0 sense. But that's just my 2 cents. Now, I do want to go wide receiver here, but someone who I love this man a lot in fantasy. That is Mr. David Montgomery. David Montgomery has an opportunity to slide on in to where Jordan Howard was last year and fucking be good. He can actually catch the ball. Jordan Howard has stone hands. Jordan Howard cannot catch the ball. We all know who can catch the ball. David Montgomery. So that's why we like David Montgomery. David Montgomery, it may take a few weeks for David Montgomery, for me to be confident in starting David Montgomery. He may be good week 1, but I may not be confident in starting David Montgomery until 2-3 weeks into the season. He will be my flex pretty much the whole season after he proves himself to me to be worth the pick. So I like David Montgomery here in the 4th round over a guy like Mark Ingram, who I can't really trust. A guy like Philip Lindsay, who I'd rather just get Royce Freeman. I do like Chris Carson out here, but I feel like it would be a reach, and I'd rather just go with David Montgomery. So Travis Kelce went in the 2nd round. Pat Mahomes, first quarterback in the 3rd round. And then the big 3 tight ends went in the 2nd round, 4th round, and 4th round. Ertz, Kittle, Kelce always go for the 4th round. So after we selected Mr. David Montgomery, Kittle Me Timbers, a.k.a. George Kittle, was selected, followed by Kenny Galladay, Julian Edelman, Mark Ingram, Zach Ertz, Brandon Cooks, Kenyon Drake, Philip Lindsay, Robert Woods, Sony Michel, Tevin Coleman, Andrew Luck, Chris Carson, Cooper Kupp, O.J. Howard, Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Deshaun Watson. So, looky here. One, two, three, four quarterbacks already off the board. Now, in your at-home league, you may see Mahomes go in the first or second round. That would not surprise me. You need to be ready for the dumbest strategies to occur when you're in your at-home league. You need to be ready for someone to draft a kicker in the fifth round because it'll likely happen. You're not going to be that person because you watch these videos, but you need to be ready for some crazy shit to happen in your draft. Someone's going to throw up the draft. They're going to take all your notes and throw them out the fucking window because some of this shit just doesn't make any sense that people do. Andrew Luck, Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson will likely go in the third or fourth round in your league, unless you're in a league with a bunch of smart people. If you're in just a normal person league, this type of shit happens. Travis Kelce will likely be drafted in the first round. A guy like Ertz or Kittle may not even get past the third round. OJ Howard, that is a bit of a reach in my opinion. I don't want OJ Howard there. I don't like drafting tight ends in like the fifth round. I'd rather, if I'm getting Ertz or Kittle, I'd rather get Kittle in like the third round or fourth round than touch someone in the fifth round at tight end or touch Kelsey early unless it's an 18 league. But that's a completely different story. Now we got our running backs that I'm comfortable with. So now we're safe to go wide out here. Do we want Mike Williams? Do we want Tyler Boyd? Do we want DJ Moore? This is quite a confusing position right here because I like all three of these guys. But the guy I like the most and the guy I always talk up is Mr. Tyler Boyd. Now, Tyler Boyd, we're going to be drafting two Cincinnati Bengals here. This could be the death of us because the Cincinnati Bengals might suck absolute ass, but they have a new coach. I believe that they got rid of that trash ass coach they've had for years, just like the Cleveland Browns. Those two realized that they need to get the fuck away from their coach that was putting down their morale, making them play like shit, and now they both got two new coaches. So Tyler Boyd is going to absolutely eat this year. AJ Green is fucking gone. AJ Green is hurt. AJ Green's gonna get some more fucking injuries. He loves getting injured. He's fucking lacing up his cleats in the locker room and his ACL is torn. He has turf toe again. How the fuck does that happen? You don't want that on your team. You want Mr. Tyler Boyd in the fifth round to light up your fantasy team. And I love Mr. Tyler Boyd here in at the 5'11". After we selected Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore came off the board, followed by Mike Williams. So if I was to pick a wide receiver here, that makes this decision 9 times harder because Jarvis Landry is a guy I'm really not drafting because I don't think that there's too many cooks in the kitchen in the Freddy Kitchens in in the on the Browns. So I don't like Jarvis that much. Now, Jarvis could absolutely be one of those guys like Edelman who catches 9 passes a game, scores you so many fantasy points just off of the fact that it's a half PPR, and does great. Now, I wouldn't mind drafting Jarvis in the 7th round, but the 6th round, I think that price is a bit too high. Alshon Jeffrey, I'm not in love with this Philadelphia Eagles team. Besides Miles Sanders, I really just ain't targeting much of those guys. Jordan Howard may be a great late round pick, but Alshon Jeffrey, I just don't love him. I don't know how he's gonna play with Carson Wentz. Now he played when Carson Wentz was healthy, he played pretty good, but it's just so confusing. I don't really like Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey's getting a bit too old here for my liking. Now, obviously, he's not that old. He's only 29, but he was being hurt at the end of last season and shit, not playing. I don't fucking know. I just don't trust Alshon Jeffrey here, so I would pretty much just stay away from him. So we are just going to go running back here and go with an absolute PPR machine. This dude was like a top 10 running back in fantasy last year in PPR, and you probably didn't even fucking know it. I honestly didn't even know it until I checked the stats. Mr. James White, New England Patriots running back, was a top 10 fantasy running back in PPR or in half PPR. How the fuck is that possible? Because James White, he runs the ball like 3 times a game and he'll get you like 15 yards. And then you know what he does? He catches 7 fucking passes, gets 50 yards, and you just fucking won because of how many passes he caught. And I'm not confident in starting him. If this was a standard league, I would not pick him. I would stay so far away from him if this wasn't PPR. But since it's half PPR, I really like his upside. And now he's not my running back 1. He's not my running back 2. He's not even my running back 3. He is riding the fucking pine right now. He'll probably be thrown into the flex position because I don't trust David Montgomery week 1 necessarily. Right now on July 31st when this video is being recorded, you're watching it on the 1st of August. So that's pretty good. But I like James White here. at this discount in the 6th round for a guy who was top 10 last year. After we selected Mr. James White, Jarvis Landry came off the board, followed by Evan Ingram, Alshon Jeffrey, Tariq Cohen, Robbie Anderson, Lamar Miller, Rashad Penny, Baker Mayfield, Darrell Henderson, Darius Geis, Eric Ebron, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, Matty Ice, Drew Brees, Dante Pettis, Latavius Murray, Allen Robinson, Carson Wentz, Miles Sanders. If you would look and take your eyes, look at this orange/yellow color. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tight ends have went. 3 tight ends went in a row. Ebron, Henry, Cook, all gone. All of the tight ends that are in the middle tier are all fucking gone. I don't like Ebron, but Hunter Henry, Cook, Ingram, Howard, all gone. The only man that's still alive is Mr. Vance McDonald. Now, this guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. This has to be some receivers. This has to be some type of glitch. Now, he 100% has to go tight end here. Or running back. He has to go running back here. But for some reason, I think the computer might just pick him a tight end. So I feel like I have to lock in the tight end here. Because you want to look the one pick ahead of you. So and the pick that's going to be ahead of you so that you know who to pick. Because if you don't have if you say you don't have a tight end here, and that guy doesn't have a tight end in front of you, it's likely that he may take McDonald here if we don't select him. Vance McDonald, I saw some stat on Twitter. This is some crazy shit. I think I retweeted it. Go follow me on Twitter. It's down below. So if you fucking look at this stat, it's some crazy shit. Because if you combine Jesse James and Vance McDonald, he is a top 5 fantasy tight end. Now, obviously, you can't combine the two. That's fucking impossible. He's not going to catch that many balls as Jesse James and Vance McDonald combined. But Jesse James got sent packing. Get the fuck out of here, Jesse James. It's the Vance McDonald show. Vance McDonald is going to get a bunch of targets. He's a big body. He can catch the ball in the end zone, the red zone, the touchdown land. And I believe Vance McDonald is going to be definitely worth a 7th or 8th round pick. I am going to pick him in the 7th or 8th round every single time I see it, without a doubt, pretty much. Sometimes he gets picked earlier, and I don't get to pick him, and it makes me quite fucking sad. So we're going to go with Vance McDonald here. After we selected Mr. Vance McDonald, Kareem Hunt came off the board, followed by Russell Wilson. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks out of the 12 teams have already been selected. So me and 2 other men are just sitting here, or 2 other computers, I guess that is, just sitting here without a quarterback, and that's fine with me because I'm all about that late round quarterback life. I don't mind drafting Matt Ryan in the 6th or 7th round. That's all good with me, but we're not in that situation to do that. So currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs and only 2 wide receivers. So right here is where I may look towards the wide receiver position. Now there's tons of guys on the board that I like here. There's a main man. This guy, Will Fuller, I just can't pull the trigger here, but I know for a fact for the first 6 weeks before he gets injured, he's going to absolutely destroy defenses. He's going to score like 25 fucking points on your flex for 6 weeks, and you're going to feel like a god, and then he's just going to get hurt lacing up his shoes, just like AJ Green. So he might fucking, yeah, it's just scary. So you got to avoid Will Fuller, but at the same time, if you're a cocky motherfucker and you say fuck the depth and you just want to win for the first 6 weeks, go ahead, draft fucking Will Fuller. He'll destroy for 6 weeks. But is at the wide receiver 3 on that team, Mr. Kiki Cootie goes a bit later, and he obviously is someone that I like. So Will Fuller, Christian Kirk, Sammy Watkins, Sterling Shepard, Geronimo Allison, all guys we're looking at here. Now, none of these names are really speaking out to me and saying, hey, Nick, why don't you draft me? Why don't you love me and pick me here? Sterling Shepard is a guy I liked, but guess what happened to him? He got fucking hurt. Everyone's getting fucking hurt. Sammy Watkins is a guy that I do kind of like. Now, I'm not too confident with him being my wide receiver 3, but considering he's probably going to ride the fucking pine every single game, I'm pretty confident with drafting Sammy Watkins here. I guess he's the one who's calling out most of me. He also likes calling KFC because he's a fat fuck. But Sammy Watkins is going to be a guy that is probably going to do pretty great in the real life playoffs. Sammy Watkins went hard in the fucking paint. He was doing. There's no way to look at these stats on this website, but he was going crazy. I wish I knew how to find this shit. Watkins caught 4 of 8 targets for 114 yards in the game, the AFC Championship versus the Patriots. Where are the others? I don't even know. He looked solid against the Colts. So he did really good in the playoffs, and if they use him like they used him in the playoffs, he's definitely going to be worth this pick. And a lot of people are off Sammy Watkins because Sammy Watkins, back when he was on the Bills, absolutely burned the fuck out of literally every single person who's played fantasy football for the past 5 years. He will have destroyed your team if you picked him. So now a lot of people, they're still worried about him. They have that thought in their head. They're like, oh, I remember Sammy Watkins. He was on my team and he fucked me right in the ass in the 5th round in 2015. And you know what? I don't have that memory because I never drafted Sammy Watkins and he didn't Bill Cosby me. But he may have Bill Cosby'd you and you may be worried. But I'm not worried about Sammy Watkins here. So we're going to go Sammy Watkins. So after we went Sammy Watkins, Mr. Injury Prone Will Fuller has been selected, followed by Jordan Howard, Marvin Jones, David Njoku, the Chief, Austin Eckler, Christian Kirk, Ronald Jones, Shepard, Allison, Fitz, MVS, LaShawn McCoy, Chicago Bears, Kyler Murray, Cortland Sutton, Cam Newton, Mr. Jared Goff, Adrian Peterson, N'Keal Harry, D.D. Westbrook. First defense off the board at the 9-3, which was the Chicago Bears defense. You cannot do that. Do not draft the Bears that early. Don't draft the fucking defense early. I would rather close my eyes and click on the screen and end up drafting Corey Davis than be caught dead being the first idiot to draft the defense in my league. And what's funny is I think the 9th round is bad. In your at-home league, you may see some guy pull the trigger on the Bears in the 6th round. And I just don't know how that guy does that. I don't know if his eyes may be closed when he's picking. Or he has a hole in his head. Because that's a fucking dumb move. So, we're at the 9-11 here. We're looking at, we got 3 receivers. We got a bunch of running backs. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs. And we're without a quarterback in the 9th round. Now, if you guys have been watching for a while, you know I love one quarterback here, and his name is not Mr. Phillip Rivers. His name is Famous Jameis, the W Eater, the Crab Stealer, Famous Jameis. That man steals crabs slash lobsters, whatever that was. He loves eating W's, and he's gonna eat W's for you in fantasy this year. There's no more Ryan Fitzpatrick. His sick beard is not behind him. He got shipped off to my team, the Dolphins. He's gonna carry us to the real life championship. He's gonna carry us to the real life Super Bowl. But Famous Jameis you're gonna hop on Famous Jameis's back all the way to your fantasy fucking championship in December, and you're gonna lift that shit, and you're gonna be so happy because Famous Jameis is just gonna sling the ball. He's gonna throw the ball to the offense, to the defense, to the refs, to the fans. He's like Cam Newton. He hands the ball off to the fucking defense. But that's fine because even if he throws a few picks, he can still it says he's not going to run the ball. Or he can run the ball, actually. I'm just reading Phillip Rivers' stats. He can definitely run the ball. He can definitely throw 300 yards a game. He could probably throw 2 touchdowns. And he's going to play pretty good this year. He's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then he has the shittiest backfield in the NFL, Mr. Rojo and Peyton Barber. Both who I like in fantasy, but not very good in real life. But that is completely fine with me because I think that this is the year where Famous Jameis shows that Mariota is a stupid bitch and that the Tennessee Titans should have went for Famous Jameis. That was a bunch of years ago, but we need to know that Famous Jameis was the best in that draft class, and he's going to play great this year in fantasy. Now, he's a bit of a risk because, like I said, he loves throwing picks, and he did get benched at the end of last year. But at the end of the day, it's the 9th round. If Famous Jameis plays like shit for 2 games, you know what you do? You just drop him and you pick up someone else on the waiver wire. But I do love me some Famous Jameis, so I'm willing to pull the trigger here in the 9th round. After we selected Famous Jameis, Royce Freeman came off the board, followed by Big Ben Roethlisberger. So now we got 4 running backs and 3 wideouts. So we're going to load up more on these running backs because you know I love me some running backs. So we're going to draft a bunch of high upside guys here. So there's a lot of guys available. There's a guy like Damian Harris who, if Sony Michel also very injury prone. Now, we already have James White, so I'm not drafting Damian Harris, but if Sony Michel was to realistically go down, I think Damian Harris will get his chance. I think Damian Harris will be good in a few years in fantasy. Am I willing to draft him now in a redraft? No. So we won't do that. A guy like Jalen Samuels, the new coach, new running back coach, I believe, was Jalen Samuels' coach in college. So that obviously means that he may get a role. Now, I believe James Conner is going to pretty much be the workhorse on the team, but Jalen Samuels is going to be he's a pass catching back. He'll catch some passes. He'll run out as a wide receiver. He could run out as a tight end. Who fucking knows? And then we also got a bunch of other guys. We got Dante Foreman, who could end up being the running back one on Houston. Lamar Miller, as we all know, is quite the snooze fest in fantasy. He'll score you 12 to 13 points, and I like him because he's just very consistent. Say with the real life. But I think if Dante Foreman somehow was to steal the job, he'd be pretty good. But I still do like Mr. Peyton Barber. Now, I talked about how Peyton Barber sucked, but he's pretty good at shaking off tackles and shit. He's pretty elusive, and I think that if Ronald Jones, fails to get that job, I think Peyton Barber will just keep it, and they're going to be in the red zone a lot. I'm telling you, a lot. Tampa Bay's defense sucks fucking ass, so they're going to be slinging the ball and running the ball in the red zone a whole bunch. They're going to be running a lot, throwing a lot, fucking catching L's a lot, probably, but that's fine, because I believe that Peyton Barber is worth this 10th round pick. So after we went Peyton Barber, Damian Harris came off the board, followed by Jalen Samuels, Dante Foreman, Jags defense, Corey Davis, Carlos Hyde, Golden Tate, Phillip Rivers, Emmanuel Sanders, Curtis Samuel, DK Metcalf, Deshaun Jackson, Alexander Madison, Jerick McKinnon, Trey Boo Boo, Kiki Cootie, LA Chargers, Ito Smith, Dante Moncrief. So now we've got a lot of running back depth. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. We got 3 receivers. So we're just going to pick one of these receivers that we like here. Now, there's a lot of guys here that we don't like so much. We don't like Mr. Anthony Miller. Now, in best ball, I fucking like Anthony Miller because he's going to score 20 points one game. You can just click on him here. He'll score. Actually, Anthony Miller's pretty okay, but I don't really trust him. I don't really trust any Chicago wide receivers each week because Mitch Trubisky is he's good, but he's not great. He's great at kissing titties. He loves doing that, but he's not very great as a quarterback, in my opinion. He's pretty good in real life, not that great in fantasy, and I think that I just don't really trust Anthony Miller here. I don't like James Washington. Obviously, I say that a million times. I like Mr. Dante Moncrief, who got picked one pick before us. So, we're going to go with a certified flyer here and go with a wide receiver that not everyone likes. Not everyone will tell you that they like this guy, but I do. I certainly like this guy, and that's Mr. Tre'Quan Smith. Now, Tre'Quan Smith is going to be the wide receiver 2 in New Orleans. He's in a pass-heavy offense. Now, you tell me, Kareem Hunt's one of the best running backs in the league. I'm aware, but he's a pass-catching running back. He loves catching passes. Drew Brees loves throwing passes, and Tre'Quan Smith this year is going to be set in stone as the wide receiver 2. He's going to improve. He is going to be consistent. You see how he scored 26 points, then scored 7, 4, 8, 10, 31, and then 3, 2, 12. He's going to be more consistent this year. He's going to be catching a lot of passes, and I believe in Tre'Quan Smith this late in the draft. After we selected Tre'Quan Smith, Devin Singletary came out the board. So we already have our running back depth pretty much. So we're going to go one more wide receiver because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. So we are going to just go with a wide receiver here and then just build more running back depth with one more running back for our 13th pick. So we are just going to go with yet another lottery ticket here who actually would probably fall to us in the next round. So we are actually going to wait. I just fucking completely lied to you. I just hit you with the fucking... I pressed B in Madden. I just fucking spun move on your ass. So we're going to go with Mr. Kalen. Oh, no. I lied. We ain't going with KB. We going with Mr. Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson could end up being the RB1 for 8 weeks on the LA Chargers. I know that sounds crazy. It may sound crazy to you, but Melvin Gordon is set in stone. He is putting his foot in the fucking ground, and he is going to make you feel like a retard if you draft him. He's going to be absolutely just holding out. I think he's going to hold out for 8 weeks, if I'm being honest. So I'm very confident in just going with Justin Jackson here and having a solid RB1 for 8 fucking weeks to play as my flex. And if fucking Melvin Gordon gets traded, even better for Justin Jackson in the 12th round. So after we select Justin Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo was selected, followed by Devin Funchess, Tom Brady, James Washington, Anthony Miller, Austin Hooper, Minnesota Vikings, Delaney Walker, Dak Prescott, Tyrell Williams, TJ Hawkinson, Cleveland Browns, Greg Zerline, Paris Campbell, Chicken Noodle Soup, Justin Hill, Kalen Balaj, Lamar Miller, Kirk Cousins, Matt Burita, Houston Texans. So before we make a pick, let's get a live look in on team number 12, who drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers in the first round. Quite the strategy there. Bold strategy, Cotton, by the computer there, because their running backs are terrible. Their first running back they drafted isn't even playing for 8 weeks. What a strategy. And then you know what they say? You know, we need 2 quarterbacks. Where's our tight end? Who knows? Let's go Baltimore defense in the 12th round. This computer is just very dumb. I don't know what this is, sleeper. What the fuck? But that's fine. Because we're going to get our wide receiver here. Because I knew that a wide receiver would fall to us that I was okay with. And Mr. John Brown has fallen to us. Now, John Brown, if you've been watching my videos, and if you have been watching my videos and you didn't click that fucking subscribe button, please go down there and click it. It really means a lot. So, Mr. John Brown is going to end up being the wide receiver 1 on Buffalo. I know, I can't believe it. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that shit too. Because I wanted Robert Foster. I believed in the Josh Allen to Robert Foster connection. I still believe in it. My heart is with Robert Foster, and I think that he will end up getting into the games, but he's not even in the 3 wide receiver sets. It's a shit show over there in Buffalo, except for Josh Allen. Very confusing. But I think if John Brown stays at the wide receiver 1, he will have flexible games. He'll have wide receiver 2 games where if everyone's on a bye, you throw him in there and you're not too upset. So that's why I like John Brown here solely in the draft. After we selected Mr. John Brown, Mark Andrews came off the board, followed by Justin Tucker. So now it's our turn, and we're going defense. And we go defense before kicker. So the way that I'm going to explain this to you, how you pick a defense is you're going to first go on Google, right? You're going to type in NFL schedule week 1. And you're going to look that shit up, and you're going to be looking at it on your screen. And you're going to be like, okay, which defense is playing against a shitty offense, and now you're looking at some helmets, you're looking at some names, and you're like, oh, I know who's a shit offense, the Giants. And guess who's playing the Giants week 1? The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to absolutely fuck the Giants week 1. Dallas Cowboys defense is going to get like a pick or 2 maybe. Eli loves throwing picks, or so does Daniel Jones. He's going to get fucking sacked. Saquon's probably going to score 2 touchdowns. That wouldn't surprise me. But all these sacks and interceptions are going to be pretty worth it for a 14th round pick. And then you know what you're going to do week 2? You're going to play them again because they have an easy matchup week 2. But then eventually, once their matchups stop being so easy, you just drop them, and then you just pick up a new one, a new defense. Not too complicated for those of you who have not streamed a defense. So after we went to Cowboys, I'm going to only say real players because I'm not about to list off a bunch of kickers and defense. So Greg Olsen was taken at the 14-5. Then a bunch of kickers and defenses. Then Nyheim Hines, the handcuff to Mr. Marlon Mack. After that, there's a bunch of kickers. Then Kiss and Titties, Mitchell Trubisky. Then Kyle Rudolph. Then Dion Lewis, Jimmy Graham, bunch of kickers, Mecole Hardman, and then a bunch of kickers, and then Jack Doyle. So now it's our pick. The way I pick a kicker pretty much is I just look for a guy that I know who their name is and that I know that they've been good at fantasy prior, because I don't know shit about kickers. I'm going to be honest with you. I honestly, I want to kick the kickers out of my league. I want to send them goodbye. If you sent the kickers goodbye, more props to you because I fucking hate kickers. So we're going to go with Mr. Michael Badgley here. And then Darwin Thompson, the handcuff to Damian Williams, has been selected with the last pick. So our team has come to a close. So our team is Mr. Famous Jameis Winston at the quarterback. Our 2 running backs are Mixon and Chubb. Our wide receivers are Diggs and Boyd. Our tight end, Mr. Vance McDonald. Our flex, David Montgomery. Our kicker, Michael Badgley. Our defense, Dallas Cowboys. Our bench is included with all these players: Mr. James White, Sammy Watkins, Peyton Barber, Traquan Smith, Justin Jackson, and John Brown. So thank you guys all for watching this video. It would mean a whole lot to me if you went down there and you clicked that subscribe button, because I want you to win your championship, and you want to win your championship. I know you think that you want to win your championship, and you need this advice, so you're going to click that subscribe button, and then you're going to dominate your fucking draft once you click that subscribe button. We're winners over here. We don't fucking lose. And you're going to click on one of the videos that's on your screen right now and just watch one of those. They're all funny. They're all good. They're all informative. They're all great, okay? So have a great goddamn day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on Friday. And we're going to have a great weekend this weekend, too. So see you guys later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you guys all for 115 subscribers. Goodbye.